Hello everyone, it's great to have you all on board. It's another time with Tutor IO 64, and in today's tutorial it happens to be the continuation of the course INR242, and we're going to be taking our bearing from what it means by representation. Representation. Which is stream. Let's ensure subscribe to the channel. Let's ensure to smash like button, and also let's ensure to use the comment section to know where you're streaming from. Let us know where, and do up to say hi, hello, good evening, and peradventure the same thing I might have said during the course of the class that you don't understand. Let's do well to draw my attention to it. So, with this being said, let's hop straight into tonight's class. Now, one thing we need to get here is that before we hop straight into tonight's class, for those of us who are not aware that we have a private class where we walk you through all your courses without leaving anyone unattended to. Yes, we do. And this is what we refer to as a private class. We support you with all the resources needed or required to make the best out of the semester. And how do you join the private class? All you need to reach out to us on our official website, which is www.tutorio.net. Okay, with this being said, let's go straight into today's class. Now, today's class might not only be a long one, because we try to catch up with an event, and for so therefore it's not going to be a long one, but I want you to pay attention because I'll be hitting the nail on the head as we're going through certain details. Now, before now, we talked about diplomacy, right? And in the course of discussing diplomacy, there will be need for us to touch quickly what it means by representation. When we say representation, as a diplomat, an ambassador or an envoy, all right, or an emissary, you are the eyes and the ears of your states, your people, your country, culture in another man's country. Remember, we talked about diplomacy. It's very important, all right, as a diplomat. Individual that preach diplomacy, you are not there to argue, but you are there to give listening ears. Present your case as much as you can, strike a balance. We also have negotiation and bargaining. As a diplomat, your instruments of dialogue is negotiation and bargaining for your people. As a diplomat, you should know when to sound tough. Are we together? As a diplomat, you need to know when to sound affirmative. All right? When to sound tough. All right? And when to reach a compromise. Are we together? You should be firm or soft as the situation requires. You need to know how to use your discretion. All right? Don't forget, there's a round table. And what you are trying to strike is a balance, a win-win. All right? So you don't want to be soft when you're supposed to be hard. And you don't want to be hard when you're supposed to be soft. So you need to know how to switch as the situation is. So we have that as that. As a diplomat, you need to reveal helpful information. All right? An eye, an ear of your people. As a diplomat, you need to do what? Be able to reveal helpful information concerning the host country to his home country. He has to be very careful in doing this. Information is very important, right? By bringing valuables to the table, you need to have legit information. Information that when your party, negotiating party, hears it, they will be moved, influenced, all right, to dance to your tune. Are we together? Now, let's take a step further. But if unfortunately, after doing all of this, if the does not work, definitely the result is as war is the failure of diplomacy. Sometimes the relationship might be based on common ancestry tradition. Alright? But one thing you need to understand here is that the mutual behavior, mutual relationship, I need to say, alright, will speak aloud. Are we on the same page? Now, let's take a step forward. It says here, pre-colonial Africa geopolitics. Pre-colonial Africa geopolitics. When we talk about geopolitics as the global set of relationships, all right, a continent assumes in interacting with other geopolitics, all right, a global set of relationship on the global level. Globally, we have continents. So a continent now is a combination of different countries. Okay? Now, continent assumes in interacting with other regions. Continent is more on a large scale compared to a region. Alright? So regions of the world in cause of struggle and competition for power. Influence forces. Now, Africa had always been vulnerable to outside interference, all right, manipulation and control. All right, quite unfortunate on the case in the case of Africa, we are easily influenced, considering the fact that we look forward to a lot of Westerners, considering the fact that they are well organized and us. Okay. Now, in pre-colonial Africa, the global set of relationships are made acceptable by conducting relationships in accordance with law, which are customary. This reflects broad similar characteristics over a wide area. What are we talking about here? When it comes to relationship in Africa, certain customs are to be observed. Alright? Another highlight of the concept of geopolitics is the struggle and competition for power influenced by economic resources. Alright? Economic resources has a lot to do with geopolitics. Now we say geopolitical or geopolitics is relationship on a global level, whereby we have continents relating with one another with certain regions, right? And this relationship, trust me, is purely economical, all right? And unfortunately, Africans don't get most of the good thing because seemingly our economy is not well organized. So there are basically two types of governments in pre-colonial Africa, all right? These forms of super local centralized government evolved throughout Africa during the pre-colonial period, and these form of governments are chieftaincies and states. When we talk of chieftaincies now, super local centralized. I wonder why it's called super local. But trust me, well, probably it's because it has to do with a particular territory, right? But before the intervention or the invasion of the Westerners or the colonial masters, to say, please, this is a disclaimer. On this channel, what we do basically is to educate. We don't instigate, encourage violence. What we do here is to educate. So now, before the invasion, there's a system that works already. Alright? Chieftaincies and states. Now, when we talk about chieftaincy, we are simply about the practice of local chief becoming chief of chiefs. Alright? Who is a chief? An individual. Alright? An elder who has attained certain pedigree in society. So based on this, he is charged with the responsibility of overseeing certain activities, all right, which is family inclusive. So certain activities now could cover a range of space, all right. So these chiefs, all right, have an higher chief they report to, or an higher chief that oversees the activities of other chiefs. Are we together? So now, the chief is recognized as a leader, all right? A leader of a dispersed set of sedentary or nomadic politics, all right? Sedentary, a particular, all right? This is kind of politics that is not much of an activity, sedentary, all right? And it's nomadic. Now, relations to other politics are carried out on trade, marriage, relations, all right, communal oaths, treaties between polities. And we also have the household heads. They establish foreign trade, relation with individual and other polities, using such institutional practice as blood, brotherhood, and quasi-kinship to protect outsiders. So chieftaincy is the system of government that works. Like I said, each group reports to a particular leader, and under the chiefs are still house heads that report to them. So the breaking down of this responsibility spreads across these individuals. And for states, it is sometimes used to cover all indigenous. This term is sometimes used to cover all indigenous African political system. Can we all hear me? Awesome. So now, when we talk about states, it is more of centrality. All right? Now, it avoids in the invidious comparison. All right? Now, what are we talking about here? We are simply referring to a centralized territory. Together, for states during the pre-colonial period, okay, a centralized territory. Now, these centralized states evolved within most regions of Africa. All right? The earliest states of Africa are among the oldest in the world, dating back to Egypt in 5000 BP. Okay? So we have state administration, all right, which is traditionally involved in central government and its relations of outer peripheral segment of the state. Now the pinnacle and the central symbol of the state was a monarch. Alright, a monarch, and his dynastic lineage, the palace organization, his family, and other royals. So when we talk about monarchs now, then lineage by lineage. Alright, and this monarch is surrounded by royals, administration, individuals that are charged with responsibility of helping him ensure everything goes well. Okay. So now, like I said, it's not going to be a long class. Let's just take a few more points and call it a wrap for tonight. Now, in pre-colonial Africa, during the period of Oyo Empire, most pacts or agreements were done in the centralized states of Dahomey or Benin Kingdom. Would always be reinforced before a cult like shrines accordance with customary laws about the states. Now, like I said, when we talk about the administrations of politics in ancient Africa, all right, there are customs that must be observed. All right, customs that affect the administration activities politically. So with the help of this custom, or what we see as customary law, it helps keep everybody in check. All right, because if you do otherwise, even as the king, you can be eliminated. Okay, so we have that as that. So we'll call it wrap here for today. And in the next class, we'll take it up from trade by barter. I'll talk about what trade before the colonial invasion. I know I like this book quickly. So thank you very much, everyone. I believe I'm able to give something in tonight's class. Please, for those of us who haven't gotten our keynotes yet, let's begin to request now. Exams are fast approaching and we are giving the keynotes out already. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you on subsequent tutorials. Bye for now.